So hello guys, let's start the video. So it started in a Discord server. A debate about a monkey achieving godhood turned into 3 debates. One thread in public, one thread in the judgment channel, and one that only existed in the DMs. Let's see all of this shit. So the original claim, Wukong versus Dante. As you can see, that was Wukong versus Dante. The debaters are Venom and Agent Kenji. Venom's entire case for scaling Wukong to tier 0 rested on one syllogism. Wukong is a Buddha. Buddhas are one with the Dharmakaya. The Dharmakaya is ultimate reality. Therefore, Wukong is tier 0. He backed it with a scan of Wukong, shedding his individuating characteristics to, quote, return to the source. Poetic, not sufficient. Agent Kenji's counter was procedural, not philosophical. Prove the verse's cosmological baseline. If Journey to the West narratively caps at 5D, quote, the source is just the ceiling of a 5D structure wearing a metaphysical costume. Then Zarya enters, like an idiot. This is where it stopped being a 2-person debate. Zarya, Federoa, posted publicly to back Venom's side, then put out a video mischaracterizing the Kenji/Venom exchange, then posted again, this time going after him's judgment directly. Zarya's move was apophatic theology as a skeleton key. The Dharmakaya is nowhere, beyond dimensional existence, fully transcendent of predication, so it auto-qualifies for tier 0. No cosmological receipts required. Kenji's demand for underlying layers got dismissed as a straw man, on the claim that tier 0 doesn't need an underlying structure at all. Him didn't engage the theology on its own terms. He went straight for the structural integrity of the argument. Tier 0x implies transcends xh, where h is the infinite hierarchy of layers extending up through high 1a+. Tier 0 isn't a property a character earns by being sufficiently ineffable. It's comparative by definition. Zarya had conflated 2 different relations. A. Qualitative superiority over a bounded local structure, and B. Absolute transcendence over an infinite hierarchy of structures. Wukong merging with the source of a 5D cap narrative gets you A. It does not get you B. Apotheosis, 5D, transcends H. You cannot inherit magnitude. The verse never established. Then, him pulled the actual rule Zarya was misreading. VSBW's apophatic theology guideline states plainly that incomprehensibility has to correlate to the power or magnitude of the character. Being unknowable is not, by itself, grounds for tier 0. Sharing an essence with a verse's ultimate reality only grants you that verse's ultimate reality, not a universal one borrowed from real-world theology. When Zarya pivoted to coherence over verbatim, the idea that you don't need scans, just theological consistency, that's where the position actually broke. Theological coherence without ontological magnitude doesn't transfer across a cross-verse scaling comparison. Burden of proof shifted. The moment the cosmological baseline was challenged, neither Venom nor Zarya produced it. Under formal debate rules, a dropped structural burden is an objective concession, not a stylistic loss. That was the public informal debate. The private one lasted a lot longer. Now let's talk about DM's part. While the public thread was still being read, Zarya and him were going another several rounds in DMs. And this is where the same disagreement got stress-tested from every angle Zarya could find. The through line never changed. Zarya kept trying to relocate the burden, first arguing Kenji's cosmology demand was itself a massive category error, since in Zarya's framing, tier 0 is defined by transcending all lower tiers, up to and including a HI1A+ baseline, and the wiki's own apophatic theology page allegedly proves that unknowable and ineffable qualities alone satisfy that bar. No inverse structural layers required. Him's response stayed anchored to the same mechanism from the public debate. The verse has to actually contain the hierarchy being transcended, individuating characteristics, returning to a narrative source only proves apotheosis over the frameworks and layers that exist within that story. It does not retroactively manufacture a high 1A+ hierarchy that JTTW's cosmology never established in the first place. Zarya escalated to accusing him of confusing verbatim linguistics with theological activity, arguing that the wiki's tier requirements aren't meant to be read as literal textual scans, but as a semantic/coherence standard. Him's counter was that this is exactly the move the wiki's own rules foreclose apophatic incomprehensibility must be correlated to magnitude, not asserted as automatically equivalent to it. Treating unfalsifiable theological transcendence as interchangeable with a measured cosmological scale is the category error, not the demand for one. From there, the DM thread ran through a long debate of the same maneuver in different context. Zarya reframing the standard as narrative structural hierarchy rather than explicit tiering, then insisting Dharmakaya's boundlessness isn't grounds for tier 0 on its own. Objection was a straw man, because the verse's fiction spontaneously implies the necessary infinite hierarchy through its theology. Him pointing out that spontaneously implies is doing all the work an actual scan is supposed to do, and that VSBW explicitly requires the magnitude be textually supported, not inferred from vibes about what a philosophy usually implies in other contexts. Zarya pivoting again to procedural objections, accusing him of ignoring Rule 7, misapplying burden of rejoinder, and later invoking Rule 12 language about what counts as an evaded point versus an answered one. Him holding the same line throughout a dropped structural burden is a concession, regardless of how many new terms, narrative structural hierarchy, semantic coherence, qualitative worlds, get introduced to reframe the same unmet requirement. By the end of the thread, Zarya was still asserting that JTTW's cosmology possesses this magnitude, and that Venom's position remained undefeated on a technicality of definitions, while conceding, functionally, that no scan establishing the H-high 1A+ hierarchy had ever been produced. So strip away the relitigating, the rule citations, and the theology versus linguistics arguing, and the outcome is unchanged from the public debate the claim needed a textually supported cosmological baseline. It never got one, and every subsequent argument was a different way of not providing it. So verdict didn't change Agent Kenji. Decisively. Low diff, low mid diff on the framework. Full concession on the burden. Not because the theology was uninteresting, because it never had the magnitude receipts to cash.